Good to go? Thank you, Julie. This meeting will now come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically goes into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all exhibits that are offered. If the board goes into executive session, the reason for doing so shall be stated. Now, please notify the chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing. This meeting is being recorded for YouTube. In each instance, the burden is upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with provisions of the applicable ordinance or ordinances. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will prepare a written opinion which will be forwarded within 7 days. The board works from a prepared agenda, and we will be considering the following in this order. After a roll call, MX 207, review and sign the notice of decision, if ready. Introduction of Eileen Kelly, the town health officer. The Tardifs on Duke Lane to review the sidewalk notes from last Saturday. The YMC summer camp, the proposal to run a summer day camp at 39 Muscatala Road. Richard and Judith Hewitt. The proposal there is to demo and rebuild, same location. Josh Martino on Brock Road, cottages. Brookview Estates subdivision to discuss the escrow requirements and possible revision of the notice of decision. Minutes, and with respect to old business, the Harper residential subdivision at the border of Alfred and Lyman, and Kyle Gassman. The removal of a dock in a right-of-way easement. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's begin with the roll call. Don.
Don Hernan, 33 Murphy's Way.
Bill Single Lane.
Joe Wagner, 26 Day Road.
Cecile Dupuy, 53 Chapel Shores Road.
Kevin Bear, 64 Buckingham Pond Road.
Based on a decision that was made by the select board just this past Monday, Cecile is now a full voting member of the board, and I move that Bill be recognized as a full voting member for tonight's meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The MX 207 notice of decision, is that all set to go, Julie? No, I said.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Hey, okay, my apologies.
We'll work on that next time. We'll table
Yeah,
that.
well, I got it right. Okay. Yeah, let's do it official. Move to table to the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Eileen Kelly, Town Health Officer. Let's go.
Do you want me to put the podium?
Yeah, sure, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. Delighted to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to get to know you. I am the new health officer as of August of 2023. And as I've been going through my duties, I'm learning different things all the time. And the last orientation class I attended, I found out that I'm supposed to work with the Planning Board. So I asked our town manager, how do you want me to handle this? And she says, well, why don't you go to a meeting, introduce yourself, let them know what you do. So I'll give you a brief overview of what I do and a little bit of my background and experience. I have a 26-year law enforcement career. I retired second in command of a major metropolitan New York law enforcement agency. I have 3 years working with a not-for-profit. We have had our home here since December of '98.
Wow.
And we are now here full-time. And I wanted to get involved a lot sooner, but that pesky little problem called COVID showed up, so it delayed me from getting involved. But I'm here now, enjoying it, and just to let you know what I do, I have to keep an eye on our public beaches for health and safety issues, as well as the cemeteries. That was a bit of a surprise. And we did have a little cemetery problem already. Somebody said that there were drug users in a little tiny local cemetery and left some hypodermics behind. Well, I went there with our chief, our fire chief, because if there were any hypodermic needles, they would have had to pick it up with sharps containers. Fortunately, there were none. So, but I'm also involved in landlord-tenant disputes, removal of a private health nuisance, unclean premises, working with the planning board, and sorry about that. Need this. And if there are any problems with mental health issues, I have a ton of resources that have been made available to me. So if any of you need any of the resources that I have privy to, please contact me. I've already made a liaison with the sheriff's department, and I still have to find out who our district game warden is. But we'll work on that as well. But that's the overview. I don't want to keep you. I know you're really busy. It's been a pleasure to meet you. Thanks.
Any questions for the board?
No, I'm not sure. What interfaces will we have with the health officer, do you think?
Basically, they were telling me if you're going to do anything new, like acquire new properties that may have buildings on them, that may have, mold. That's another
Okay.
one of my duties, mold. And just, anything like that. Or if a problem comes your way that you think might fall under my category, please let me know. I can be reached through the town manager's office.
Great.
I'm not here every day, but she can find me 24/7. So can Julie.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Kelly, just a couple quick ones. Might the animal control officer know who the regional game warden officer is?
Possible.
Oh, I can call.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can call it.
Okay.
And I've already reached out to the animal control officers just to introduce myself to them as well.
And I don't mind me asking, whereabouts from New York were you?
Long Island.
Where's your thunder?
We're glad to see you here.
Me too.
All right. Thank you. Let's see, Rodney Tardif, Duke Lane. Please come on up. Discussion of the sidewalk notes. We were there last Saturday.
Right.
Tom Proto, the road commissioner, was there as well. And to the best of my recollection, his principal comment was that the condition of what you constructed is a heck of a lot better than Duke Road itself.
Right.
Now, we're a little bit uncertain as to where we go
Yeah.
from here. I don't know if a full application is necessary. You provided the diagram and the photographs from the sidewalk as well. And what we're talking about here is just having sufficient frontage so you can
Right.
build.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
the other thing is too, our wonderful, not knocking it, but the street acceptance design and construction standards ordinance, which is basically for the roads. I think there was a question about the material you would use to do your road.
Right, the gravel.
Yeah,
Instead of the DOT gravel, Tech D gravel.
so you used what, bank run?
It's bank run with, 4-inch minus bank run.
And then under that, there's a table on there, that table 2.3, it says exempt and non-exempt 2 to 10 lots or dwelling units, and it says, you're supposed to use this MDOT type D gravel. I mean, it would have, my suggestion would be that that the planning board ask the applicant to request, I don't know if a waiver is a correct term or not, from the standards. It just depends on whether you were going to add more lots there, I guess. But the issue I have is that your road, as Joe said, is so much better than what, I'm not knocking Duke Lane, but I wouldn't want to have to go down there in an emergency. And so no matter what you do, your road is much better than the roads that
Right.
you're off of, which then ties into a regular paved road.
Correct.
So it's not logical, for me at least, to try to say, oh, the applicant has to go and rip this road up and put in MDOT type D gravel or whatever else. That doesn't make any sense to me. But on the other hand, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I think we should ask the applicant to request I don't know if it's a waiver, if you want to call it a waiver or not, depends how you read the ordinance. And it is it's confusing to me when you talk about exempt. Well, there's private ways and blah, 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 blah. It goes back and forth. But this way, at least, there would be a request from the applicant saying, hey, I want to maintain what I've got here. And then the planning board could presumably vote on that and issue some sort of a written decision that the applicant, presumably if it was in the applicant's favor, the applicant could then register it if you wanted to, or whatever. It could be registered with York County for the deed so that there'd be no question in the future that this was an approved thing. So somebody else can come up and say, hey, wait a minute, he didn't meet the requirements or they didn't meet the requirements. They got to rip the road up, which I don't think anybody would do, but you never know. So, I mean, I don't know. Anybody else got some ideas on this?
Should also put a condition that if the road leading to it, is that a town road? That's private.
It's a private road right now.
So, if that ever became a town road, then would have to be up to this standard that, you may be able to bring it up to that standard also. But that would be, are you still going to have like the same depth of base gravel, 15 inches?
Oh, yeah,
As
there's
opposed
more
to
than,
the 12
there's
or-
more than 15 inches
Okay,
there.
so
and-
you qualify and everything, but just the top level, right?
Right, it's just it's not the DOT gravel, it's just bank run gravel. That's, because the top grade is still not there yet. You're still gonna add the 6 inches of the final
Right.
Do
gravels.
you plan on that being the crushed material?
Yeah, like the crushed, yeah,
Okay.
right, yeah, it's all the crushed, probably right from Du Bois, they got all the crushed, 1/2 inch or the 3/4 inch crush gravels, that's what was gonna go on that.
So maybe I would agree with Don that some sort of written request waiver.
To waive
particular
The gravel,
mention maybe some particulars here in terms of what you have done provided there. And I would suggest maybe mention Tom Croto's opinion on the private road as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that maybe if the applicant decides to do this and submit a waiver, then we could ask the road commissioner to review it and hopefully get his concurrence that it's adequate for the situation. And then we could record the whole thing.
We could get that in writing, that would be great.
Yeah, right, exactly. Get it in writing and put it in the notice of decision. And we could write the notice of decision using the information we have. And it may not follow the exact format of the, the 16 standards and all that stuff, but it would be an official decision. I don't know. Anybody else got some ideas?
So to come back about that.
okay, so
With the waiver.
just
Which
a
I'll-
waiver,
Request.
okay.
We're
waiver
on the
request.
agenda for the February 21st.
Yeah.
And we can put to a vote at that point in time.
All right,
If you could maybe forward a copy in advance to Tom Croto,
okay,
that'd be great.
Yeah,
All right.
it'd be good if we could get his written concurrence.
right.
That way we could wrap it all up presumably if he concurs.
Do we need a public hearing for this or not?
Yeah.
If we wanna
Hmm.
follow
Does it say?
the-
I don't know.
This is a standard and not
Yeah,
an
that's-
ordinance.
That's true.
And have we done, since I've been here, we have not done a
Well, it
notice
is,
of decision for a road.
it is an ordinance. We've never done an NOD, no, but we got,
Right.
we got to do something. I mean, we got to have, I don't know.
It doesn't give instruction on whether we need to have a public hearing.
It doesn't say anything one way or the other.
That, was publicly advertised to be sufficient in terms of getting public input.
I don't know. If we did one, we could do it before the next meeting, right? What's our timing on that? We got timing? Public hearing? What's
Here's
the
the procedure.
You'd
I
have to,
don't think 2 weeks is enough.
And we'd have to-
It's only 14 days.
yeah, we'd have to,
And it basically to get all of the notifications out, I send them 20 days out because, you know, how
Yep.
knows.
Oh, you have to send it to the abutters, don't you?
So we couldn't get a public hearing really until the first meeting in March.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we need a public hearing is the question.
That's the question.
I'm uncertain.
No, I know it would be a detailed process with all of that if this was going to become a town road, but it's not.
This
And
is-
most of the time, when we're dealing with roads, it's part of subdivision
Mhm.
or a cluster or whatever. So this is, yeah, I'm not sure, because we have to research this.
I don't know if anything in there about public hearings. Well, I mean, to get air, if you want to err on the side of caution, you do a
Yeah.
public hearing. So I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
We'll do some research on it,
Pushes out. Push it.
just
If
pushes
you
it
want to schedule the public hearing, be on the safe side at this point. That'll be the first meeting that we have in March. Give you plenty of time to get that waiver written up and reviewed by town clerk. And
Well, then we have
put
to
it on
know,
the agenda right after the public hearing. And go to a vote.
Yeah, we would want a waiver, because it says a waiver submission requirement. If it's not gonna, yeah, so we would want that.
Is this ordinance online?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I'm looking at it online.
Yeah.
So I can find all the language in the ordinance online for this
Yep.
waiver.
On the main
Because I'm the one that's
page,
gonna be doing it.
it's got regulations on the far right, go right into that.
Right there. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I hope it's clear enough. This one is,
If you're
This
uncertain.
is the most information we've received, so this is fine. We'll do what we need to do.
Yeah.
Sorry for the delay, but
No,
yeah,
it's
make
okay.
sure we cover all of this.
but then we should notify abutters too.
It does, okay, it does. That settles that. Thank
Well,
you.
we'll have to notify abutters, right?
Yeah.
So we have to get a list of abutters.
Mhm.
Do you want them to provide that?
I'm all over this right now.
You got it?
Okay.
Sounds like.
How many butters do they have out there in the woods?
Well, yeah, actually, one's
Right there?
Right
Yeah.
Brother.
his daughter, and it would be across the street, so.
Probably quite a few deer out.
Email me their addresses. Please.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, a presentation on the proposed YMCA summer camp at 39 Muscatine Road.
Hi, Andy Orazio, CEO of the Sanford Springville YMCA. And as you saw with our request, we're requesting to utilize the property with the approval of the landowner to operate some summer day camp programs on a weekly basis. It's all day camp oriented, nothing residential. We were able to run a pilot program last year. It went incredibly well, very successful. And our goal is to continue with that process and formalize the process after the pilot program from last year that we approved. So we're here today trying to reach out to get that confirmed and see if there's any additional questions. Last year, we met all of the expectations when it came to safety. Accessibility went very, very well with the maneuvering of the bus coming in and out of the road. There were no issues at all there. Even along similar to what we do at Butternut Park when we operate our camps there. Our safety protocol, risk management protocol was all in place in that location also. Our waterfront area was well defined, very clear and concise about accessibility so that people on the water, on the lake would not be misinterpreting what was happening there. Our swim area was clearly defined and guarded. So all of the normal expectations that you guys have seen with us with our Butternut Park camp at Camp Marlin is exactly the same at the location we're at.
Questions from the board?
Is
I'm
this,
sorry, Julie, my apologies.
Marcel just wanted to state that he hasn't done the final electrical, although he had been working with the electrician for the property. But he's confident that if there are any deficiencies when he does his final, that they'll be quickly fixed. He's not concerned about it at all.
Great, thank you. And last year, we did a walkthrough with the fire marshal who also approved everything for us to do what we did last year.
How many kids did you have?
Last year, we had about 35 a day. We're anticipating moving that to hopefully 60 this year. Yeah, and it's still, I mean, the property is will not even, people won't even know that we're here, basically, in regards to the number of kids and the size of the property. So we have plenty of space to operate in a similar manner we did this year. And 60 kids will be minimal impact.
But with the outdoors program, any overnight stay?
No overnight stays. No. Yeah, we needed to make that very clear. This is day camp only.
Hey, Joe, second question. Did we issue something last year? It's like, I somehow got a memory on this.
Yes, you did.
Well, it was.
Yeah, you provided us with a
Submitted.
temporary pilot program kind of permit to do it. And then we were coming back for a full approval this year.
So does that mean we got to go through the whole
I think,
site plan
site-
review
I think
process?
so.
Yeah, you have all the documents. I believe we've already sent all those documents in.
The temporary permit. do you understand?
Oh, from last year?
Was there some document, or was there a letter or whatever? for
No, it was just an approval that we came and got approval to.
here?
Yeah.
Do you
'cause-
remember what month?
Yep, it was July.
Oh,
July
the issue,
last year.
the issue last year was that
The
there
minutes.
wasn't, oh, I know what the issue, I think I know what the issue was. That was like on 1 week's notice or something, and there was a concern that we didn't,
July 12th meeting, I think it was when they came.
when,
At the special workshop meeting we had.
when they're concerned that I don't think we had a public hearing or anything, did we? Yeah,
Because it was the next week. was
Right.
the-
Yeah.
and that was an issue, that was sort of an issue, right? So we had to follow the, I just
Yep,
think we
that's
oughta-
why we came back, because we
Yeah,
were
smart.
informed of the process and
Right.
clarified on what was going on. And that's why we're here today, to make sure that everything is in order and appropriately managed.
No, I'm glad you're here now, I mean,
Yeah.
because this gives us time to do that.
Plenty of time, yeah, to get
We
things.
don't wanna have to-
moving.
Because I mean, I don't think there were any issues last year that I know of, but you never know. There could be in a butter or someone who says, oh, that camp is really messing the place up. Or I mean, I don't know. I hope
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
possible.
kids make noise.
Right. Sure.
So sidewalk, public hearing?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we got to do the full thing on this. Right?
So-
I don't think so.
I believe you have all the documents and paperwork
I
that
don't
we
know.
sent in
Right.
regarding usage, location, expectations.
And I see there, just in our packet tonight, there was a letter to the Chief Matthew Rose with respect to culvert design.
I think that's completely separate from the camp.
Mm, yeah. But that's different, isn't it? Or
It's
that's,
Yeah,
oh, that's nothing to do with this. I don't think.
You're a
He's got
subsurface.
the other property, I don't think it's in regards to
that's directly with the property owner that he's working on now.
When you go down into the property,
Mhm.
the day camp, they veer to the right. When you go to the left, to go to some other buildings, there were some, there's a little streamish area. And the fire chief had concerns about taking his equipment over the little bridges.
Okay.
So they were having an engineer, design some, more substantial culverts.
Okay.
And just in regards to safety issues, I included that in the
I see.
packet.
So
So the fire chief knows about the culverts and you would have that information too.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
But for us, the accessibility is not an issue. I think that was more land oriented and accessibility into the facility.
Okay.
But the main access is direct, but it's just that one satellite loop that goes around some of the wooded areas and back around for accessibility to the lake.
Set a date for a sidewalk? For Saturday, maybe?
Whenever you want.
17.
Want to do it the 17th?
17th, Saturday. 9, 10, what do you say?
Saturday the 17th at 10.
10 sounds good.
What does that include? What do you need from us in regards to information or details?
Well, cell phone number, just in case, foul weather or something like that, you have to postpone. Or something, so that would not allow us to have a quorum, which would be 3 of us.
Okay.
It's publicly advertised, so those who hereby can stop on by and take a look as well.
Wonderful.
And then we'll take it from there, the public hearing, and whenever that's scheduled, that same night, we can discuss the situation.
Okay, so timeline for us, just if you can help me with a clarification on what that timeline looks like.
Mhm.
I believe we were talking about, if we can do that in a couple of weeks, that's great.
Do we want to schedule the public hearing for them, the same
Yeah.
as Mr. Barnett?
I was gonna request to be on that same schedule.
That sounds fine.
And that way it will
We
be.
You can do it all at once. The notice,
Yeah, let's-
that'll save trouble on the,
So Saturday, when we do the sidewalk, someone will be there to explain.
Sure, yeah, I'll meet you there and I'll check in with the landowner to see if he's interested also. Matt will do that. Yeah.
good, yeah, that should work.
Thank you, Joe. So we'll put that public hearing on for 6, the first meeting in March.
March 6th.
March 6th, okay.
Yeah,
So potentially, if everything goes as, we hope that it does, and the second walk was great, and public hearing goes well also, then the board would vote on it on that evening, right?
On the, possibly,
yeah, and then we'd have to write a notice, probably write a notice of decision. So,
and then the, has an intention to put a week after that, within a week, we should do.
and the thought would be maybe if you could think about it is, if we write this notice of decision properly, this would cover them from then on, right?
Yes,
We could cover them.
ideally, that's the idea.
So they
is
wouldn't
that
have to
we-
come
this will
back
be
again,
competitive after,
unless
yeah.
something changed, unless you changed your use or you decided to expand or do additional things. So it'd be helpful, my suggestion would be, it'd be helpful to make sure we get a full list of their activities
Mhm.
so that we can throw that in the notice, I mean, not throw it in, but reference it in the notice of decision.
Yeah.
That way we can cover all the bases and you guys will be covered unless you decide to put up an amusement park or something else down there, which is.
You
all
think about that. Hang
Maybe
on. I'll check with the landowner.
I'm sorry.
Maybe have them do an annual update.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could be a suggestion. That would cover things.
Yeah, yeah.
That way,
Visit us once a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Well, we
This
come
is
by,
I mean, this is a little unusual since it only happens, it's only like a one week, I guess.
well, no, there's a
2
couple
weeks.
weeks, but long-term, the idea is that we may be
Expand it.
expanding in the timeline. The actual activity, the day camp opportunity doesn't necessarily, we want to pigeonhole ourselves
Oh.
into just a certain timeline. So we would like to be able to have that, expand opportunity.
My suggestion would be if you wrote up in your activities, you might somehow want to phrase it in words along that line or something. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to give an open book, but if they say we're going to do it 1 week or 2 weeks and then they want to go to 3 weeks or 4 weeks and they have to come back, I guess, for a change. I mean, maybe it could be worded depending on.
Well, I
what you
think if you would just say a day camp opportunity, that opens up the door for us to be able to use it, whether it's a, summertime thing or if it's just off the season a little bit in case there's something special we want to do, but it would still be oriented as, day camp opportunity.
You better-
As such.
I suggest you write with some weasel words that cover these types of activities.
I was gonna say.
You know what, I'm gonna write that down, weasel words.
No,
Got
Expansive.
yeah, because,
It's a
I mean,
very
you know,
technical term.
I'm gonna have to look it up. Yeah.
I will adopt that. I will
It's like the squirrel root, right?
download that.
Do we need to go through checklist, preliminary,
If the application
Applications.
is complete.
because if there's anything missing, that would be a shame to.
you have to postpone.
Yeah, I believe, I've already
To push
spoken
you
with
off.
Brenda. It's already gone through her office. She already cross-checked all of the details to make sure that we had what we need. At least she felt that we had everything we need, but please, if we can
You know,
make
if
that.
you,
Do we have that? The checklist, in fact, you gave us some sheets, remember, not too long ago.
we better look and
To
see.
I mean, I had a whole packet with 8 copies in it.
The,
Did I gave you everything, didn't I?
No, I don't think
I thought I
so.
gave you everything
we got the
last
wastewater disposal system.
Let's see,
and,
Maybe so, I
Site
don't know.
plan.
So once again,
Maybe
just some
it's not.
clarification
right.
on the site plan, there's 2 different site plans. One is the original property owner site plan,
Mhm.
but then we have a more updated one, which is the colored one,
Mhm.
that gives you a better sense of our usage, which is, highlighted with, I think orange is kind of a space that we won't be using, that's right around his home itself. And then the rest of the properties would be where we are using anything in green, I think is what I coded it. Would be spaces that we would use, including down at the waterfront, around the fields, around the, around the wooded areas where the trails are. Just gives us that opportunity to have an outdoor exploration program with hiking, walking, trail, nature exploration, outdoor education. Yeah, it's exciting.
I don't know, is it-
How's about, go ahead.
No, I was just, did you find it? Because
Well, application for shoreline zoning uses, we have that. The subsurface wastewater disposal system mentioned there, the maps that we mentioned as well.
You have to check.
Going to the checklist itself, I would suggest that we address that.
Could use the ordinance.
At the time of the public hearing.
Hmm,
Don't we have to follow 2 point, whatever, we have to go through the preliminary, vote for those standards in the preliminary.
I'm afraid so.
mhm.
And we usually have those sheets
Mm-hmm.
that Brenda would,
Sorry for the,
the CEO usually checks off first and then we
Mhm.
vote on them.
Maybe it's in the,
standards for site review application, 8.3.6.
Yeah, it's a checklist that goes with it. It has like, how many, it has a number of standards that we, yeah.
site plan.
For example, does it have a site plan and the scale, and does it have a butters
yeah,
site plan? It's,
Let's see. Based on 834, is it, Cecile?
yes, that's it.
Application fee, 2 sets of mailing labels for butters, site plan drawing to scale. I don't know if all those have been provided.
What is
I
it?
checked the checklist when I sent it. So it should all be there.
I'm gonna have to find it.
But, yeah, went through, these all sound familiar to you, the site plan drawn to scale, no smaller than 1 inch equals 40
That's
feet.
it.
Yeah.
Name and address of applicant.
Yep.
Total floor area around there, all that. You went through that with Brenda?
Yes.
So it should be somewhere in the record.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Okay.
you gotta find it.
So,
I got the check stub, we got the money.
okay.
Okay. And that's
Check it right now if you want.
that's one of the things, right?
Yep,
Yes, the
that's
application.
the first one.
And that was
So-
all part of the application. The backside of the application was all the checklist of things that we needed to make sure were included.
So somewhere in the file, maybe?
So, so-
Yeah, it's gotta be in there.
That being the case, well, we'll just take note of that and at the time of, after the public hearing on the first meeting in March, first order of business was just to confirm that we had the checklist complete, that the application itself is complete.
And if there's something that's not complete, can you let us know in advance so we can try to make sure it all happens by then?
that's it.
I mean, that's my concern right now, is
Yeah.
we get to that point, and if there's something missing that we could have resolved.
Right.
Can I just walk through the
We could use the ordinance, right? Because that's exactly,
Same
you
thing.
have the sheet, yeah.
Mhm.
Still.
So just to walk through it, and we won't be voting on these individual things, but just make sure that all these bases have been covered. The fee has been provided. Sets of mailing lists for butters. Has that been,
I believe Brenda said she had that information, and there's only 2 abutters, if I'm correct.
site plan drawn to scale?
Yeah.
Name and address of applicant?
Yeah.
Total floor area, ground coverage, and location of each proposed building and structure addition.
Yep, it shows it in there.
Perimeter survey of parcel made by a certified registered land surveyor licensed in Maine related to reference points. Plan must show a magnetic north. All existing and proposed setback dimensions. This is more applicable to construction.
Right.
Yeah.
Size, location, direction, and intensity of illumination. The type, size, and location of all incineration devices.
On there.
And a lot of NAs here.
Yeah, a lot of NAs, yeah.
The type, size, and location of all machinery likely to generate appreciable noise. Location, type, and size of all existing and proposed catch basins, storm drainage, and
You have that?
Subject. All existing contours, proposed finished grade elevations, you're not moving any earth around.
Nope.
Location, type, and size of all curbs, sidewalks, non-workable. All proposed landscaped areas, size and type of plant material upon the premises. All existing proposed rights of way, easements, or other legal restrictions. Property lines of all properties abutting the proposed development, including properties across the street. That's one thing oftentimes we miss. And appropriate box on each page of the plans for signature. And this is more applicable for construction.
Correct.
Traffic data. Any raw, finished, or waste materials to be stored on site. Again, this is more.
Yeah.
Construction.
Construction.
But nonetheless, and we'll find that checklist and have it at our disposal after we do the public hearing. Sounds good?
Do we need to be concerned about parking?
You bring everybody in on a bus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So one parking place.
Well, there may be, I mean,
Oh, work.
ideally, there could be we've got staff coming in. So
Right.
Yeah,
But there's ample parking there. We had no problem last year with the number of cars that we have access in and out. We had no issues at all with moving a bus in and out of the driveway onto in either direction. I know that was a question last year. And prior to even doing it, we brought our bus up, we tested it, we found it with our bus drivers who are licensed drivers. And also most of them, our lead driver works for the town in Massachusetts School District. So he knows the roads really well. We worked out the maneuvering and any safety concerns that we had with that.
That location on South Fork, the sight lines are pretty good.
Sightlines are very, very good, especially if you're, in a bus, which is a little higher.
So does your site plan have designated parking area? Does it
It shows parking in and around there's a barn right there where there's a corral.
It does, it says it on the site plan where cars can park.
I can show it to you. I don't know that it says parking. And it's a gravel parking area, so, it doesn't have, lines drawn but there's adequate parking there.
Any other further questions?
No.
Okay, I think we're good to go with the
Okay.
public hearing.
Correct.
And so, okay, very good.
Superb.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on Saturday,
No, 17th on Saturday.
as long as it's around 10 o'clock, yes, 6 o'clock.
We know you're up early, Bill, but yeah.
Walk through on the 17th, yeah, 10
That's
o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Public hearing in the next meeting, the beginning of March, is at 6 o'clock.
That's right.
Yeah.
As it stands right now.
That's actually two meetings.
Yeah,
Two meetings.
March 6th.
March 6th. Yep.
Great.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Yurts at 75 Barker Pond Road. Demo and rebuild, same location, best practical location.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I make a comment? Rick, and believe it or not, Rick is my barber. I mean, I know you probably
So
don't.
you're saying you're going to recruit yourself on this?
No, I'm not, but I just wanted to make a comment for the record that I have used him as a barber for a number of years. Excellent barber. He happens to be conveniently located next to the Dairy Queen in Biddeford with a lot of parking. So it's very nice, but I don't feel that I have I have no personal business relationships except for paying for my haircuts. And I just want to make that clear. And I don't feel the need to recuse myself from this application unless someone has a question. So, but I want to be upfront about it so you know about it. So, anyway.
All
He's
right.
a great barber too, so.
Do you get business cards?
And he never gives me a free haircut either, I can tell you that.
No, I need the money.
You're right.
Thank you. Mr. Yurts, that's what you have in mind.
Yeah, what we'd like to do is take down our cabin that we have. It's a very old cabin, stinky, smelly, floor shake. It's terrible, but it's a nice place. We would like it where we are. What we'd like to do is take it down and rebuild just a shell in the exact same location and just keep it a seasonal place. And
Same-
obviously,
Same footprint?
same footprint, exact same footprint. The only thing we would do is go up the max 20 feet.
You
Yeah,
are,
go up. We're allowed to go up 20 feet.
you
up
are
to 20.
tearing it down.
Yes, I would like to take it down.
So is
completely.
there a foundation there?
We would do a walkout basement.
So
Is
you're
is what the
gonna put in a
hopes would be.
full foundation?
Yes.
So
Right now,
what's it-
it's cinder block.
Right now, it's half cinder blocks and half slab, which a slab is
Correct.
cracked so bad. I had a guy come out to see if we could raise it, and he said no. He said, take her down and start from scratch. Yeah. So that's what we'd like to do is just remove it and just do the shell. We just got enough money to get the shell done on the outside. It'd be better living in the nice shell instead of what we live in now, which is only on weekends, but.
All right. Is there some approximation from, on the maps where the building is in relation to the shoreline?
We're about 40 feet off.
Where do you go?
Yes.
Can you push back?
There's a septic tank about 15 feet behind us. So, and the septic tank is in good working condition. We had it pumped last year. So I would really not want to have to
Okay,
redo that.
see that here.
Yeah.
So once again, the sidewalk?
You're gonna do a lot of walking.
Would it be possible to schedule it for the 17th as well? You don't think? Or later,
Might as well. I mean, I don't see why
No.
not.
The sidewalk on Saturday, the
Oh,
17th.
the sidewalk.
And you think you can do the first sidewalk within an hour or so?
Oh, yeah, but one thing, if we,
It's a lot of luck. That's a big place, on Muscatine.
Okay.
if, I mean, what we could do is, I guess the other one's at 10, right?
Yeah.
So if you schedule it at 10:30 or just say say afterwards or something, give us some, I mean, the main thing is to notify the public of when it's going to
Right.
be, so.
I think that we need to be a little bit more precise.
You wanna say
in
10:30
terms of
or
time, because
11
if you
o'clock?
Open it up to the public.
Yeah.
People
You don't
stop by
understand,
at
right?
10:30 and we're not there. Um,
So what do you think, 11 o'clock?
Well, Julie said that there's a lot of territory to cover at Muscatine, but they're not using the whole shebang over there, so.
How about this? How about somewhere between 11 and 1?
Cable man.
Like me.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
say
yeah.
between 11 and 1.
Yep.
We're going to 1 at 10, we'll be there right afterwards.
I hope you guys can be there, because I can't do that. I could do one, but 3 that day, I got a hospital company. I'll be gone most of the day.
Well,
How many we got now?
well,
We got-
again, I think we should be a little bit more exacting with the time for this visit, because again, you may have folks, because it's open to the public, stopping on by and cooling their heels for a while.
Yeah, they make it.
So you want to go with 11? I think we can do a sufficiently
10:45.
cover things.
10:45.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a drive. Between Muscatine and
Hmm.
over on Marcus
So
Pond.
we're going to do the 17th at 11?
How about that? Okay.
Do we need to be there for that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And we do have your cell phone number, as I mentioned
Unless,
before.
Yeah.
unless can
My,
answer questions.
My wife will be there, but I have to work till noon.
Okay.
So I'll be, if it's after 12:30, I'll be there.
I think we're good. Public hearing there, schedule that one in advance.
Why not?
Do they need a public hearing?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do we want to do it all? No,
So what do we got now for, how many we got now in that?
2.
I do.
Go for the following, the second meeting in March. The 6th and
Well, then you have to notify, you could do this in one notice, couldn't you? You did all 3 at once.
That's a lot of,
A lot of time.
certified others go.
Oh, yeah, that's a pain. I mean, not a pain, but it takes work.
Yeah, it's a lot, it's a pain.
Okay.
It's a pain.
So we'd go with the 20th. Would that be the second meeting
Yeah.
in March? Would that be okay? It kind of delays it a little bit for you. Okay. So sidewalk, Saturday the 17th at 11. Public hearing, hold at 6. On our second meeting in March, which would be the 20th.
Sounds good. All set? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Good seeing
everything.
you. Good seeing you, Rick.
Next on the agenda is Josh Martino.
Josh Martino. Thought you'd fallen off the face of the earth.
No, it just took us a while to get the survey done.
Oh,
Yeah. It was tough. We tried to go some other routes, get some LiDAR done instead, but they overpriced us. And then we went back to our original person who did the property lines when the house was built back in the 80s. And they did a topographic survey of the entire property now. So,
You got a copy of that.
yeah, you should have that there.
But Ms. Martino, can you just refresh our memories of what you have?
Yeah. So the basic, we've got it very basic. We don't have an exact idea of what we want to do over the next, say, 10 years or whatever. But the concept is small cottages, dog friendly, potentially having a dog daycare on the property at some point. First, we'll start with some cabins, and then eventually a dog daycare, and then, maybe even way down the road, some sort of hall so that people could do weddings and things like that for, again, it's dog friendly focused. That's our number one priority. So cabins just, for weekend stays and things like that, nothing permanent. And just probably only going to do it during the summer, nothing during the winter. That's pretty much the gist of it.
I had the notes that you modeled something like Atopia.
Hatopia is what we were using as somewhat of a reference. Theirs is we stay there every year. My wife and I and a bunch of our friends, and it's basically canvas buildings, but they have a platform built with a bathroom on the platform. We're kind of on the fence right now because we kind of want to get something built and see if people are actually interested in going. So we might go on the Hatopia end of things with keeping it very basic, very simple, see if people actually have an interest. And then maybe I'm thinking I want to go more like tiny house quality, like cottages around the property, something a little nicer, fully built out, framed out, and, probably it won't be on slabs. It'll probably be on like raised platforms with a structure on there. Small, like 600 square feet, not huge, just enough for, a couple people and their dogs, maybe a couple kids with them, nothing crazy. But I want to lean towards higher quality, but we might start lower quality to just see.
so these are like wooden yurts?
Basically, they're like, it's canvas mostly. The Hatopia stuff, as we're using as a reference, the Hatopia, it's plastic and very thick canvas.
Oh.
Yeah, very nice. They build the platform. They got a bathroom on there. They even have sinks inside the hut. You can see it all on their website too, if you feel like taking a look. I know you did a lot of looking up for me, and you even got the records from them originally about when they were approaching a town board for getting theirs submitted. But yeah, it's and they even have they have a grill at each. Some of them are full cabins with actual, and that's probably what we're looking more towards. Full cabins with an actual kitchen, a small kitchen, kitchenette inside, bathroom, running water, electricity, the works. I want to lean towards the full cabin, eventually.
So where's this covered under? Is this covered under campgrounds?
I think that's what we're using as a reference right now, but yeah, basically.
Campgrounds?
Yeah.
Just to make sure that, just because we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have in mind
Phases. Yeah. I'm going to go start real slow was my plan because I want to, whatever I can potentially do myself. I'm going to do myself, you know, like the framing and the carpentry work as much as possible. Of course, we're gonna have to bring in electricians and all that, whatnot. But just, you know, try and keep the budget real low is the basic idea. And just to get it running, even I'm not like, I don't even want to put in a septic just yet. I don't know. I'd have to talk to, you know, Brenda and see what she, I would rather use because it's on our property and our house, we live there on the property. So we would like to, if it's possible, pump into our current septic, pump water to the cabin from our well and use the existing. And then later on, if, you know, this does take off, put something bigger and more permanent, or maybe small septics for each building. I don't know. I'd have to see what's legal, you know.
Then we have the topographic map and also the property map, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's the original property map.
Do you
Yeah.
have a sketch as to where these?
No,
proposed
well,
cottages
that's
would
kind of
go?
what I was coming to you with, because we literally just got the topographic survey, which shows a lot of wetlands on the property too. I want to keep the property as intact as possible. I don't want to do any filling in and moving around. So I mostly wanted to see if it was even viable, given the topographic survey with the code restrictions. I don't know. You know, we have 2 ponds on the property, so I don't know. And the survey guy said something about we might need to see if there's any vernal pools on the property, and you know,
The DEP involved.
Yeah,
They'll have to get a permit from them.
yeah. So I just want to know if this is even viable, honestly. You know, it's a good amount of land. It's 32 acres, so there should be some space in there to build. Trying to keep the back end for family, maybe in the future, you know, and build on the front end. But you know, I don't know if there's space for that. I don't know if there's vernal pools, you know.
The good
That's
news
what I
on
think.
the vernal pool issue is that season is coming right up.
Yes, I mean, he said I had to book it ahead of time. I have to do it in the spring, or you know, that's it. You know, so I assume that's my next step, and then of course I have to submit my checklist at some point too.
Have you checked our ordinance on the rules that we have for campgrounds or whatever, the like spacing and?
No, I
You
didn't
may
look at
wanna
the
look at
spacing.
that
Yeah,
too, 'cause
okay,
that can kind of give you an idea what your maximum amount of sites would be.
okay. I plan on
You probably
spacing them
wanna
out
look at the
quite a
full-
bit, but
the
yeah,
full-
yeah,
Your maximum of what you can picture, even though you want to start small, but
yeah. No, that's a good idea because I want to.
Where is that, Cecile?
the campgrounds?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, we have a definition of it in
Yeah,
here.
it's in the ordinance on,
Am I probably missing it here?
Which book?
Is it in the zoning?
I think it's in the regular zoning.
Okay.
The other thing to keep in mind too, where the huts are located, getting full emergency access to each one. as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what, like, we were gonna keep things pretty light as far as paving the areas in, but I don't know. I don't know if the code's gonna require me to put a road through our property, you know, and that sort of thing. We have a path that leads around the back of our house, and if you go behind the house, there's a path that leads through the woods, but it's just a thin trail for just hiking in the woods. It's nothing serious at this point. We were probably planning on the large parking area at the entrance, and then people would be walking through, but, you know, emergencies, you know, I don't know what. kind of
Tent and
requirements are.
recreation, page 48.
What page?
1016.
Well, I was thinking maybe
Page 48.
page 48, that's tent and recreational. Uh-huh.
Campgrounds, tent and recreational vehicle parks. Let's see,
10, 16.
16, yeah.
Okay.
It's page 48 of our zoning ordinance.
Okay.
And it gives, I don't know, have you had a chance to look at this?
I looked at some online,
Okay.
not specifically campgrounds, but I have looked at some of the ordinance.
Well, this says campgrounds, tent, and recreational vehicle parks shall conform to blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And
I'll
then
look
it
at
starts, it
exactly
gives
that.
dates that it can be open.
Okay.
And it gives a lot of, not a lot, but it gives some details, which I would suggest you probably want to, I mean, it's not too detailed really when you get down to it.
Okay.
But,
I think it's good.
Yeah, you need like one parking space per tent site within 100 feet of the site.
I see. So an external parking area isn't really realistic. Okay.
Visitor parking, yeah. still need.
Yeah.
actual-
They need to be able to bring their car right up to the site.
So,
Okay.
so obviously you'd have to meet, you would have to meet these requirements.
Mhm.
And I would suggest you look at it and ask for the, the maximum you think you can accomplish rather than the minimum.
Yeah,
Only,
Yeah.
is that what you, where you would be covered presumably if it got approved?
yeah,
Would have to come back and ask again
yeah.
and spend more time and money.
Yeah.
You said you had ponds, more than one pond?
We got 2 ponds. Yeah.
So with that shoreline, that would be,
Oh, gosh.
sure, anything near there, within 75 feet of the pond would be
Hmm.
under the shoreline ordinance.
Is it an actual
Sorry
wet-
about
Is it a
that.
wetland or a pond?
We have a lot of wetlands, and we have, you can see, you should have the
Yeah,
map.
it's wetland.
You can see them on the map.
Yeah.
One's a good size.
100 foot setback on the wetland. Okay, that's even worse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then property crosses over into Waterboro as well.
Yeah, we're not planning on touching Waterboro right now, so we're just meeting with you guys. But yeah, we own some acres in the water, up over the Waterboro line.
So am I getting this right? I think the next step would be for you to consult with DEP as to what can go where.
And so
Kevin,
we have
you-
to
Yeah.
With who? With the,
But
identify.
Department of Environmental Protection, DEP,
okay,
and see, let them take a look at the location.
okay.
To give you an idea as to.
That's the real question, because I don't know where I
Where-
can build anything
Right.
currently. So the EEP and they will, they'll have to do a site walk and, check for vernal pools and that sort of thing. Okay.
I think it's, Kevin mentioned, try to schedule that as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
It's, the season's coming up.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sir, being the owner of multiple dogs myself, I'm just curious to that, how you plan to get rid of the dog waste?
I have some ideas. They do have little septics that you can put in the ground, but
Doggy doo.
yeah, I don't, they require a lot of work. I honestly have been thinking about an external, almost toilet mechanism where you can put it in the toilet and flush it, just like, and then we go in with the regular septic.
Huh.
But I don't know. I have to see if that's, even possible. I have to talk to a plumber about it.
That's something you may want to research, whether that's.
Yeah, otherwise it
Can
would
be
be,
done.
right now, the way we're down to 3 dogs, but we've had 5 dogs on the property and we've just been scooping and dumping it for the most part. So, but yeah, I think that would be the most, efficient way of handling it is having external toilets, maybe, like outside of the house that you could clean up after your dog, put in the toilet, flush it, sort of thing. Although I do worry about mosquitoes with the wetlands and the stagnant water and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So I'll have to talk to a plumber about it.
And we're good here, except for Mr. Martinez to contact the state.
Okay.
Department of Environmental Protection, to see where on the property is buildable opportunities.
Yeah, that's my big concern. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda, Brookview Estates. Basin Property Management. With respect to the escrow requirements and possible revision of the original notice of decision.
All right, so Josh Nason, owner of Brookview.
Mhm.
Looking for another notice of decision because it's obviously timed out since then. Unfortunately, when we went to the banks with all of our stuff, there wasn't enough process written by the town alignment, so no financial institution wanted to touch this project until we got lawyers involved, went back and forth for a month or 2 here. And once we got the town to update a process, then the banks were willing to work with us, and now the ball is rolling forward again. Everything went brakes on as soon as the banks reached out to the town looking for a process. Nobody was willing to even touch it.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't understand what the problem was.
How it was being released, and there wasn't enough information for the banks to even consider it. Every one of them went, no. I don't care where you went, who you talked to. Every bank ended up calling, Kennebunk Savings Bank ended up calling their lawyers and had their lawyers address it here.
So you were trying to get a loan or something to
For a
cover
loan,
the,
yeah. And for the 150% of the escrow,
Right.
the way the process was written, they didn't want to touch it yet. They needed more clarification. It had to be broken down further before anybody was willing to touch it.
So all set now.
All set now. Everybody's on the same page. I've already had appraisals done. I've had all that stuff's being finished up right now. I can't move forward without another letter.
And then we are trying to get that check, not a bond.
Right.
Yeah, so
That was the big problem, and there just wasn't enough here on paper that anybody was comfortable with it. And once we got everybody on the same page, everybody's good now.
So,
It just took a lot of hoops to jump through.
so what I guess I'm hearing is you would like us to revise the notice of decision?
That's what I would like.
Do we get, I'm not trying to be a pain, but I'm just asking, do we get a request in writing on this or not?
We've been back and forth with the office.
No, I know, but I'm saying, are you gonna, what do you, you've said verbally what you want, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what anybody else thinks. Would it be possible for you to just send an
And I can
email
send
or
an email
something
tomorrow
and saying, here's what I like? Because you obviously have a copy of this, right? It's dated whenever we spoke. This is this is the draft, so I know when it was.
It was in June, yes.
June.
So, quick question. So all you're asking for is you want to redate it, the original one with a new date to move forward.
That's all I need.
So that's all I want, a new date.
a fresh 45 days, I believe.
It should be more than adequate. Like I said, they were already finalizing my stuff. I'm hoping within the next 3 weeks to be closing up, but they can't put final paperwork together without a new notice of decision. It's a lot of red tape, so it's,
My opinion is to have a written document, just exactly what you're saying, that you had a delay.
so the email that we sent for this meeting isn't
Well, I
adequate.
think it should
It
be something-
spelled out all of what we're doing right now,
The
and talking
original one
about,
was
but
filed
I can send in another email.
at the registry, right? The notice of decision.
Yeah, this has been,
Right.
this
So
has
the-
been,
The notice of decision, the original one is already on file at the registry. So
Right.
we're gonna send another one, it's verbatim except for the date. So there should be,
Well-
to me, there should be some kind of letter or whatever attached with your request.
Yeah.
To redate, because it has expired,
Mhm.
to renew it. And this way, and that could be registered with this new notice of
Yeah, it
decision.
would just be an amendment to the original.
An amendment, yeah.
Right.
well,
Yeah,
But there's a reason for the amendment.
wait a minute. I'm not trying to be a pain. I'm just saying that, it would appear to me that I'm not, again, this is just keep things accurate. But for example, it wouldn't take much effort, but, we could add in here that we've held meetings and we could add tonight's meeting on this application and we could say something. We don't need a public hearing, I don't think, another one. But it would seem that we ought to say that the applicant has requested an extension or something. Because didn't we did this on,
Mary Morning.
Mary Morning. Good for
However, there
you.
was a change in the notice. of
That's right. They wanted to change the septic in that thing. So there was a
Right,
little
there-
different
there's an
change here.
actual change, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So the concern with this one too would be, the wording on it says, construction must be
right.
substantially completed within 1 year of the date of the notice, which is June of last year,
It'll be done before June of this year.
and completed within 2 years.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Because
we'd be given a new starting date.
that's
Basically what we'd be
that's-
doing.
It'll move all
We
that
would
out.
start the schedule cycles all
So
over.
are we starting everything all over? And it will start in 45 days over, but we could start your notice of decision all over.
what do you think about this?
I just want to point it out, clear it up.
So if you, even if you do it in an email, you send us a request to extend the original application as of current date and start the cycle over so that you can continue because of holdups, because of technicalities with the legal entities, and it's been resolved. We want to move forward.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
So we ought to put that, I would suggest that we put that in the findings of fact, what he just said, basically. which would be an addition. No, wait a minute, just,
We're
you know, we,
we're gonna amend it.
yeah, right.
So you give us a letter, we can make the amendment and then approve.
That's what I would like to do.
I think that's a good idea.
The
That
adjustment
way
has
it's-
to be here, right?
That's fine. I mean, it'll be done tomorrow, so no problem.
And that to me,
And put that to a vote next time if we get together.
we'll- we'll-
All right, so like 2
Another
weeks.
2-week delay, but,
It is what it is. Like I said, they're still finishing up the appraisals right now, so
okay, so,
I'm not
But,
like.
but you're gonna go forward with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Like, I
did
had
some,
Partners Bank was fully lined up to go with this
Yeah.
until we weren't able to bond it when we found out that we had to do escrow. And every bank backed out.
because that's, I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive, but I'm saying that was in our requirements, the fact that you
And
needed to
we,
give us a
we
check.
didn't understand that until the very end, until about second to last meeting.
Okay,
None of us caught it. And then it got brought to our attention and it was still all good, but they chose not to finally move forward at the end because there wasn't enough information from the town for them that they
Huh.
were comfortable.
well,
And then
maybe, you know, maybe the town, maybe we can learn something from this. I mean, I don't, because our intention certainly wasn't to delay your project by any means.
No,
Not
I
at
mean,
all.
it's,
I mean,
it's just hard when it's escrowed. If it's bonded, it makes it 1,000 times easier.
We've always
I
had-
could have gone to any financial institution and been out the next day. But to actually have to put it in escrow, 150% of it is
Yeah.
it's crazy.
that's how.
I know, it's what it is. Yeah.
unless that gets changed, that is the way it's written. I mean,
Yeah.
We've had other, subdivisions that have gone with that.
we just haven't had a
That's the first
subdivision
issue
for a
that I,
while.
that I know of anyway. We may have had them in the past, but,
I get it. I mean, just when you're putting over $500,000 in escrow, it's,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're
know
like-
Everything's costing more now, so it's a
So,
bigger number.
it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
And you're
escrow
paying
has
interest
become
on that, obviously.
Day one.
Wow.
So that's how that hurts.
That's why it's got to be fast.
Well, maybe there's something that, you know, again, if the board, if it's actually, let me say this right, for our many thousands of people watching us here, but it is a subdivision regulation, which is not an ordinance. It could be modified. I don't say, I mean, got to go what we got with now, but I mean, as a consideration in the future, maybe we should get the town lawyer or somebody to take a look at it and say, hey.
He already has with my lawyer.
And see, no, but I mean, as far as in the future, if this, we got to follow the rules as written. We can't change them for anybody.
I get it.
But in the future, maybe if this would be a reason to look at modification of that, to try to make it not easier, but to make it less restrictive for the many people who are going to come in and want to build subdivisions, however many there might be in the future. But there might be, because we're pushing that, you know, the state's pushing affordable housing, blah, 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 blah. And this would seem more logical to make it a little easier if that's possible, as long as the town is protected. Anyway, that's my speech for the night, I guess.
So,
Maybe, maybe
should
not.
for- yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
send us
so-
that. Julie,
Yeah.
can you modify the notice of decision accordingly so that we can hit the ground running 2 weeks from now? Acknowledge the receipt of the request and for the adjustments to the notice of decision and have it all ready to go at that point.
All right.
Okay.
Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.
Well, good luck on this thing. We'd like to see it get done, that's for sure. Then you can pass a lot more taxes in the town, right?
Yeah, that's good here.
Thank you.
Signed in, right?
Yes, I did.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah,
All right, next on the agenda, we've got minutes from the January 17th, 2024 meeting.
I did get those, by the way.
All satisfied with the,
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of January the 17th as written.
I'll second.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Put John Hilltop here.
Oh. Hmm. That's strange. No, I mean, you know, you see, we don't see that many subdivisions, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's a little strange. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that would happen.
Select board meeting, line is growing.
To escrow that amount of money at the current rates, a lot of money.
And that's not, I mean, that's an area that could be modified if, you know, if people want to do it.
As for old business, Harper Residential, any word from them? No?
Nothing new from them.
Okay. Again, they're still, did they ever ascertain where Alpha begins and Lyman ends down there? Is that still part of the, okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that they were trying to get the property or a right of way to get on.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
discontinued road was
That's
where they
right.
were making the entrance,
Okay,
so we're still waiting.
thank you. Kyle Gassman, he'll be appearing at the next meeting on the
Yep.
21st, and that's with respect to a dock on a right-of-way easement. Just a couple other things, if you don't mind. Came up at the Ordinance Review Committee. Excuse me, FEMA has required that the town adopt an ordinance with respect to the floodplain maps so that people can purchase flood insurance if they so wish. And I would assume will be discussed by the Ordinance Review Committee at further length. Just to follow up on the Old North Berwick Road corridor and the Du Bois Pit, seems like everything is okay for now. Kevin and I went down there and stopped off at the locations, by Cheney's Place, Drown Road, and further on down, and didn't hear the hum.
Didn't hear it. Awesome.
I didn't think it was running.
Really, it was?
Yeah.
We went to visit.
Oh.
It
It
was
was
running.
running.
Everybody
Oh,
saw
I
it,
thought that's
so.
awesome.
The only feedback I've gotten via email was from Mr. Johnson on Gray and Mr. Armstrong on Drown, just saying that they haven't been hearing the humming noise, but some other sounds like rocks going into a
Crusher.
either the crusher or into a dump truck, something like that. That's sporadic, not the same thing. But these folks out there, but keep us surprised of how things are down there.
I'd like to commend you guys for taking the initiative to
Uh-huh.
try to get that resolved. I mean, it's not exactly under the purview of the planning board, but on the other hand, if I was sitting there, I was hearing this noise, I wouldn't like it.
Part
So-
of what you approve on the permits for the gravel pits is that the adjacent neighborhoods are not annoyed by
Yeah,
sound, and they're supposed to operate certain hours as well. So
it sounds like it worked out, and the owner was cooperative,
very much.
so that was positive too.
Yeah.
So
The
that's
biggest
good.
problem was
Good.
finding the owner,
Well, that's right.
right? That was
Yeah, so that was a good result,
Yeah,
really.
where-
So-
Who's doing
the
it?
origin. Yeah. A couple things that are, I think, kind of outstanding and I think will remain so for a while. Maxon's over on the Cottage Road. I don't know if they ever heard back from the Army Corps of Engineers, so they can make some adjustments
Oh, yeah.
to their property in terms of the water flow. I would assume that the Bridgemans will need some additional guidance on the deck that they have on Barker's Pond, where that.
Well, I thought we covered that. Did we cover?
We did, and I think that it was the understanding there'd be a continuing dialogue as to how they will proceed in terms of taking the deck area off, keep the stairs, but maybe build a dock
Right.
off of that. And
Do they need any permit for that? Or were
They
they-
could get it through the CEO.
Yeah.
Because it's not a permanent job.
I mean, do they don't need it, do they, let me put this right, let me put this in the right words. Do they need our expert guidance on this, or are we done with
I
that?
think they've
just
got
need to
it.
work with the code enforcement.
Okay, so as far as I can see, the planning board is,
We're good.
I think,
I
I
think so.
think we're.
that was a pretty good, hopefully legal resolution of that issue, I think. So I thought that worked out okay. I hope so.
Yes, I think so too.
Good.
An example, again, work things out with folks.
Yeah.
I know we all received a Freedom of Access Act request for information on a certain location in town. Don, you responded to that,
Yeah.
and I think I CC'd all of you on the package I
Yes.
put together on that.
I sent everything I had.
Okay.
I had a problem with Outlook. It would not allow me to create files with the emails. So I tried everything and nothing was working. So I had to literally forward each reference. I had to just forward it. So, and I checked with the town manager first. I told her. She said, fire away. So I did.
Well, you had pretty good, you had much better records than I did, Joe, which is not surprising to me, but I'm glad that you're able to give them all that information.
I kind of pulled it together in chronological order. If anyone wants to get the full flavor of
Oh, yeah.
what's transpired in the location.
I saw it, but, okay, I guess, well, anyway, I guess we'll see what happens. Is
Yeah.
we provided our information.
Mhm.
We'll see whether it goes anywhere or not.
I'm sure there's a lot of redundancy. There's a lot of.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
Because
overlap.
we're all CC'd on everything. So.
I did add in my note that a pitch for trying to get town emails for planning
Yes.
board members.
Yes.
I don't know
Yeah,
whether that is, I don't know whether, I thought I heard, I was listening to part of the last select board meeting, but did I fall asleep? No. I don't know, they were talking about something about, I thought there was something in there about a way to get more, or maybe a group thing or something to make it more of a town email without having to pay for individual emails for each one. I don't know if I
You're right.
misheard it.
I either read it or I heard the same thing. It was either on the, at the YouTube version of the session. Or,
Yeah,
Or in a mail.
the audio was not very good on
No,
the
it wasn't.
YouTube,
Yeah.
so I couldn't hear it very well.
The advantage of using a town email is they wouldn't even have to ask us.
No, they
Because
wouldn't.
they can draw it
That's it.
all
Yeah.
Right, they
from
have,
the-
they would have access to everything
They
that
combine it through official.
Yeah.
minutes.
that we
Yeah.
type in there and,
So, yeah, so there's a cost, but there's a benefit, and you better weigh it balance.
right.
Yeah,
And it's secure,
Yeah.
more secure for us too, because now we're opening up, like John
Right.
said, we're opening up our private email. You know,
The only way you could avoid that is to create a separate email.
oh, gosh.
Like if you created a Gmail
a
account,
Gmail account just
each
for that,
of you, just for your planning board emails.
right?
Then you could access Google Docs. But then it wouldn't be your personal email.
Yeah,
You would just have planning board emails there.
Actually, I was doing taxes for the IRS on the AARP program, and that's what they would do for us. And every year, it's not accessible out of tax season, but when tax season begins,
oh,
as soon as you're certified, you get a Gmail account with your number, which is like 9 digits or whatever, and you correspond. But so it's a public thing. You don't have to pay for the mail, and they can keep it private.
Just so you go tax prep.
Yeah, for like 12 years.
We'll talk.
They're not doing it since COVID. It hasn't. They have it in Wells, but up here I used to do a bit in Sanford and kind of on Wells, but yeah, they don't have it in this area anymore.
So on that flood issue, the flood maps,
Mhm.
that's gonna require a decision to either modify our ordinances or create an emergency ordinance to cover it until the modification can be done. That's out of our hands.
It is. It's
That's nothing we can do.
No, ordinance review committee has got that. We got some feedback from Lee J. Feldman on that, recommending Don was there, that
Right.
they have a separate standalone ordinance for
Right.
this. Use the boilerplate that they provided. And they have like a July 17th due date for this. Anyway, as
It's gonna have to go to the select.
Selectmen will
Yeah.
hopefully, put together, will approve an emergency ordinance, renew it probably before it goes to the voters in November. But again, it seems more formality than anything else. Without it, then folks who might be in the floodplain would be in jeopardy, I think. And I just take a look at the maps, and they call Zone A, I think, is subject to flooding. And usually it wasn't around the ponds, like Carlisle Brook, Sunken Branch Brook, Yeah,
Ooh,
those guys. But they tend to, I couldn't think of any households or any buildings directly in the way, but nonetheless. just
Yeah.
To be on the safe side.
We did get an update, I was, flood map, not a few years ago,
Yeah.
when Perry was here, remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but we never had an ordinance with it.
now they said, remember,
Mhm.
at the meeting, you said that York County, some parts of York County
Coastal communities.
fought the application or the implementation of the new floodplain maps, and that delayed the whole process. So the rest of the state apparently went forth and did good things and all that stuff. York County was behind the 8 ball, so DEP, whoever it was, put the hammer down and said, okay, you got till this date to do it, or we're gonna, people won't be able to get flood insurance if they want it. So that's why it became a quote, emergency along those lines.
Hence, they won't get mortgages.
Yeah, it could be an issue.
Yeah. The only other thing I've got for discussion is possibility of starting meetings at 5:30 as opposed to 6. I'm going to put that on there.
If that's a motion, I'll second.
Let's put it on the agenda for discussion next
Yeah.
year round, because we're already at set 6 o'clock for the next 2
Yeah.
meetings.
How was that for you, Julie?
I'm fine.
You're okay with
Truly,
that? Oh, she suggested it?
Remember, I'm the one that pushed it from 7 to
Yes.
6.
So that's true.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't have a preference. I mean, it's not a problem for me.
I think that's fine, yeah.
I can work it into my busy schedule.
Where's Broadway and Paul when you need him for the earlier time?
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Speaking of next meeting, you want to set the agenda? From the top. I'm sorry, Julie, I'll check to see what I've got. I thought I had sent over the conditions for NX 207. I'll resend, so that will be ready for signature next time around.
From View Estates revision.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Gaspin.
Mr. Gaspin. Mhm. The other items are, well, we're doing the sidewalk on the 17th, but the public hearing there is on the 6th. So move on the agenda for the,
21st.
not the 21st, the one after that.
You want
The
to
20th.
use the 20th.
20th. Yeah.
That's what I
That's right,
wrote
yeah,
down.
you got it.
The
This today's the
meeting.
7th, so it's got, actually, it's got to be 21st, my apologies.
Is it?
The
Yeah,
21st is
The
the
21st
6th,
is-
it was 13 and
because-
7 is 20.
14 on 7, and at the 7 is 21. I was thinking of,
But would you go over the sidewalk notes on the 21st? I will see if I can find
Yeah.
a file and we can at least go through.
that
the
sounds
file.
good, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So
make
why-
sure that all the checklist stuff. is
That's very good.
Yeah, we need the checklist.
Yeah, let's pick them up. Good. Anything else?
And the other sidewalk that you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
Hewitt's? Is that how you
Hewitt's.
say their name?
That's right, I believe.
Their sidewalk notes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything else? And let's put the proposed agenda to a vote.
Yeah, make a motion to accept the agenda as proposed.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Now, you still, it does still say on that agenda though, doesn't it? It's subject to change,
Oh, yeah.
just in case something comes up and there's, I mean, I'm not, we don't want to spring anything on anyone, but sometimes there's other topics that may need to be discussed.
The
So,
the gravel pit situation.
yeah, that was a good point.
Did you mention the next door?
Yes, it did.
And I did add the Hewitt's to this agenda, but I did send it to Joe and get his approval because I believe we discussed at the last meeting that he would have to approve, the chair would have to approve revisions to the agenda if they were known ahead of time. So I got approval in writing.
And I think that's actually in the bylaws.
I think so, yes. All right. Anything from anyone else?
No? Sounds good.
Say it, Bill, say it.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second?
Because,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Awesome.
Okay. So have you moved up here permanently now?
Oh, yeah.
Are you like, when did you move up permanently?
Well, my husband's been here since the start of COVID.